Hi, this is my 100-mile review of the Asics Superblast. Um, I bought these myself from the Asics website. Asics does offer a discount for healthcare workers, uh, so I did not have to pay full price. I got them for about 150 bucks. Uh, I don't know if I would have bought the Super Blast if I had to pay full price. I'm doing a 100-mile review because I feel like in order to really form my opinion on a shoe, I need at least 100 miles um, because my opinion tends to evolve over time. Um, I also uh, received the Hokamak 6 at about the same time, and I was planning to try and hurry them both up to 100 miles almost at the same time, alternating. But I dropped something heavy on my foot at work, and my foot got bruised and swollen. And so, since then, this has been one of the pretty much the only shoe that I can comfortably run in because of a combination of it being very protective underneath and a little bit stiff, quite stiff in the forefoot, and also having quite an accommodating upper. But I will get into that. Um, anyways, to start with, the upper. It's some kind of engineered mesh. It's not really soft. It's pretty lightweight, similar to a racing upper. Um, I think this shoe has really good step-in comfort. Um, I found that Asics shoes fit me well in a 10 and a half. I fluctuate between 10 and a half, 10 and 10 and a half, although I've been going 10 and a half more often lately because, including in Asics, because I like to have some room to wiggle my toes. I don't want it to feel too snug in there. And also to have about a thumb's width in the toe box. The fit is reasonably roomy, and I do have to lock down the laces pretty well in order to get a good lockdown around the midfoot. Um, some shoes are snugger around the midfoot and then open up a little more around the toe box. The Super Blast is pretty wide all the way across. The tongue feels like sort of a thin neoprene. It's got a little bit of padding on here, not much, and fully gusseted. I've not had any problem with lace bite. The laces are flat and they lay down pretty nice. Also has very solid heel counter. You see, I'm not pushing that in at all, and that seems to be pretty typical of Asics shoes that I've run in. Um, the midsole. So that's one of the big things about the Super Blast. Running Warehouse lists the midsole at stack at 45 millimeters in the heel and 37 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop. And they're listing the standard men's size 9 at 8.4 ounces, which makes them the lightest of the Supermax trainers and even some of the non-maximal high performance trainers out there, like the plated training shoes. Um, and in my hand, holding it, because it is a big shoe, but it feels super light just holding it like this. The midsole is dual density with a big slab of the Asics FF Turbo and a thin layer of FF Blast Plus on the bottom. Um, this is not the FF Turbo Plus, which they just came out with in the new Metaspeed Paris line, the Metaspeed the Paris, the Sky, and the Edge. I find it reasonably soft, but not really sinking in, and responsive, but I wouldn't call it super bouncy. Um, some people have described the Superblast as being quite bouncy, but I'm only 130 pounds soaking wet, and I don't have a really heavy foot strike, so I may not be compressing the foam as much as some other people. If I pick up the pace and put maximal force down into the foam, they still feel very protective. And what I noticed also, similar to I had the Nova Blast 3, is that even in the forefoot, I feel like I've got tons of foam under there, not even close to bottoming out. It is somewhat of a stiff shoe. See, if I push on that, it's not flexing. I'm pushing pretty hard. Um, Despite being one of the few high performance trainers um, without a plate, many of the other high performance trainers might feel unstable without the plate, but the Superblast, I think, doesn't need it because of the nature of the foams involved. Even so, it's probably stiffer than the Puma DV8 Nitro, which I have, and that one does have a carbon composite plate in it. But the foam itself is not nearly as stiff, so I think and not nearly as thick. So then maybe it does need the plate to stabilize it. The outsole. I believe the outsole is the AHR Plus rubber. I'll show you here. There's almost no wear on the rubber at 100 miles. Even it's got like it's got these little etchings in the rubber, and those, I can't really even see much of any wear on those. There's a little bit of wear on the FF Blast Plus exposed foam, but I don't think it will affect the life of the shoe. I've had the Nova Blast before that has a very similar tread pattern, and sometimes the exposed foam, it looks a little bit chewed up after a while, but it's never really affected the ride. Never noticed it. You will see there's little holes in the bottom of the foam, and those do occasionally pick up a small stone. I've never noticed that on a run. I just see it when I get home and kind of pop it out. The outsole grip is fine on dry ground, but it is mediocre on wet surfaces. It's not Puma grip. However, the shoe itself is inherently stable, partially the firm foam, and it has a very wide base, so that helps. I've heard reports of people getting several hundred miles on the Superblast, and I'm not particularly hard on my shoes, so I wouldn't be surprised if I get 600 to 700 miles, because the midsole foam seems to be quite durable, and the outsole rubber as well. The foam, I find it soft enough, but it's not super soft, which creates a really stable ride. The shoe has a noticeable heel bevel here, and a later stage forefoot rocker. See, it mostly starts to turn up right after we hit the ball of the foot, and which gives it a smooth transition that I think would probably work for a variety of foot strikes. The light weight of the shoe means that I can run with a quick shuffling cadence, but I can also open up my stride and hit the ground with force because of the ample amount of foam. I think I need to hit the ground hard in order to really benefit from the responsiveness of the FF Turbo. So if you're a heavier runner, you may get a little more bounce out of it than I do. What are my likes? Uh, it's really comfortable on foot, even with my foot being all bruised up right now. For running or walking, it's incredibly light for a Supermax shoe. Um, there's more than enough cushion for any length of run. I was trying to kind of increase my mileage a little bit, which is one of the reasons I got this shoe, because some of my other shoes are more like a lightweight kind of trainers, so they don't have quite as much underneath. When you get up to like, when I get up to like 12, 13, 14 miles, um, my feet get tired by the end of that. Um, and also high expected durability. What are my dislikes? It's not the grippiest. It's not bad, but like I said, on wet ground, it's just kind of okay. And it's quite an expensive shoe at full retail. Um, Full retail is $200, which is a little bit more than most of the high performance trainers. You know, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, New Balance SC Trainer. Uh, of course, On recently had outdid Asics with this Cloud Monster Hyper, which there is coming in at $220, I believe. Um, what are the alternatives? Mostly I think about other high performance trainers like the Endorphin Speed 4, the Boston 12, Deviate Nitro 2, Hoka Mach X, Saucony or New Balance SC Trainer V2, Prime X. The Prime X2 Strong is also Supermax, but quite a bit heavier. Uh, the the Tier Valkyrie Speedworks looks like a nice shoe, um, and Asics own Magic Speed 3, which seems to be geared more towards the speed than the cushioning. Also, I could include other like really high cushion shoes, like the New Balance 1080 version 13, the Nimbus 26, the More V4. I have the Nimbus 25 and the More V4, but I don't love them for longer runs, partially because of the softness. So I feel like I'm kind of digging myself out of a hole, like I'm running in sand. Um, and also they're considerably heavier uh, by ounce and a half, 2 ounces at least. Um, for value, the one that I would add would be the Nova Blast 4, which could be a great alternative and offer a lot of what the Superblast has. Um, if I didn't get that discount for healthcare workers, I I would seriously consider the Nova Blast 4. Um, Most of these shoes have advantages and disadvantages compared to the others. Some are more speed oriented, others are better for long runs. I think the Superblast's strength is as a great long run shoe with the ability to pick up the pace, whereas others are maybe a really good speed shoe that maybe is good enough for long runs. So it's kind of on a spectrum there, depending on what your needs are. Also, the lightweight and the fact that I'm not sinking into the foam means that I feel like I'm not fighting against the shoe. Um, I always ask the question, would I wear them for work? With these, 100%. Yeah, they're really comfortable on foot. I tried the Nimbus and the More V4 at work, but the really soft foams tire my feet after several hours, like stabilizing myself. The Superblast is stable enough that I don't get any of that, um, but I would not retire them for work until I get several hundred miles on them because that is really expensive for just a work shoe. Um, I did wear the New Balance More version 3 for several months as a work shoe, and that one worked really, really nice because it had sort of a firmer foam in that version. Would I buy them again? Of quite possibly. They are doing everything that I expected them to do. Um, by the time I wear these out, the Superblast version 2 may be out already. That one will, from the leaked photos that we've seen online, it will have the FF Turbo Plus, which is supposed to be considerably bouncier. That one is a PIBA-based foam. Asics has always been a little cagey about exactly what's in the FF Turbo. I heard it was some kind of nylon or something like that, but I don't have any confirmation. Um, they've also, in those leaked photos, it looks like they've plugged up these little stone catchers in the bottom. So um, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope I have helped. If you're considering buying the Superblast, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to comment with any questions, thoughts, or suggestions. Okay, that'll do it.